It is a joy tonight to welcome Rabbi Shoshana Nambi. She takes her place tonight as a leader of this community, and we are so delighted that she is now a part of our family. Rabbi Nambi.
I am so grateful tonight to be here with you in community and in prayer. And I look forward to so many, many more Shabbatot and many more opportunities to pray and learn with you, to celebrate each other, to join hands in comforting each other, and to work together towards a more just world for all of us. My daughter Emuna and I are so honored to be a part of the Betham family. Years ago in Uganda, I worked for an Israeli agriculture company. My job involved training farmers to better their crops and to effectively use their land and to learn about new and improved varieties of crops. Despite working for a commercial business, one of the most rewarding parts of my days was listening to farmers tell stories about their family lands. Farmers would talk about how the lands had been passed down through generations, the tensions around dividing their lands, and the plans they have for passing their lands to the next generations. Sometimes they shared stories of why they are choosing not to adopt our new technologies, and as you may guess, it's because they had been using their traditional farming methods for many generations. At about the same time, I volunteered for an organization called RAIN Uganda, a community-based organization created by the Jewish members of my community to educate the wider community about HIV and to conduct group testing and to connect people to the appropriate organizations that would help them. I sat with people to talk with them before and after they tested. For some of them, it was their first time testing. I watched them nervously waiting for their results. Some days were really hard because it was so hard to see their faces crumble as they received negative or positive results. But I understood deep down in my heart that it was so important that I was there with them when they received their results. And so was my work working at Jewish camps and training as a chaplain in the hospital and as a student rabbi. All of my work was connected to human stories. I find meaning in our sacred texts and in the Torah of our individual lives and collective experiences. Our individual and collective stories create sacred relationship and memories. These stories have inspired me to be a more empathetic person, and I am working on listening more. And also to recognize that no matter where you're from, no matter your background, our human experiences are so similar. We all have stories of joy, of fear, sadness, relationships. We yearn to belong. We have stories of resilience and of hope. Laura Snyder, the author of the children's book, A Pig That Wanted to Be Kosher, wrote, "Stories have a special power. When we hear them, our minds try to relate to them. If you tell me a story about something that happened to you, it will probably make me think about when something similar happened to me or when I felt the same way. Many times, I respond to your story with a story of my own. In this way, stories build on another, and other people's stories become part of your stories. So too, we also relate to and learn from the stories of our sacred texts in different ways and informed by our own lives and experiences. This week's parasha, as Kent Ashpal really beautifully mentioned, we learn about Balak. We read a somehow mystical story of a talking donkey, of a greedy professional seer who turned good and an evil king. Barak, the evil king of Moab, feels very threatened by the Israelite victory over the Amorites. he attempts to destroy the Israelites on their journey to the promised land. Unlike others who have tried before, other tribes, he decides to use a different weapon to destroy the Israelites. He decides to use words. Barak's strategy involves hiring Balaam, a renowned professional seer, to cast a curse on the Israelites. But with God's intervention and with a talking donkey, Balaam the seer changes his mind and blesses Israel instead. On seeing the Israelites in their dwelling place from the mountaintop that Balaam was on, Balaam proclaims, Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishknotecha Israel. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling place, Israel. We added these words to our daily blessings to reflect on the goodness of being in community together. This narrative in our Torah makes us think about what Balaam might have seen of Jacob's tent. What changed his mind? What was that goodness that he saw, that he talks about? I imagine everybody in their little tents, families with their own stories of love, fear, forgiveness, and hope, connected under one big tent, the tent of Israel. What a beautiful sight. We too, I would suggest, have our own tents of individual and family stories, stories that become a collective in the wider tent of the Betham family. Each of us has our own Torah of lived experiences. Professor Eli Wiesel teaches us that God made human beings because God loves stories. And I love God because of the stories that we have that connect us to the divine and to each other. And I look forward to continuing to get to know you, to learning the stories of your lives, the stories of what makes you connect to Beth Am and to each other, and sharing my own story with you all. Shabbat Shalom.